All right, about to do our monthly Coronado neighborhood market update. Got some interesting stats to look at this month. Coronado is still continuing to kind of buck the overall trends as far as the market kind of slowing down. We are definitely seeing some more active listings on the market, and we are also seeing a little bit of price drops, but I'm going to explain why I don't think it's alarming and why I think it's just explained more through the differences in our housing stock than it is through an actual decrease in the prices in the neighborhood. So let's get to the numbers. First, we start with the number of active homes on the market in the Coronado neighborhood. You can see that this number has been steadily increasing over the last month from a low of about 33 to 49 now. Had a lot of listings to the market in the middle of the summer. That's kind of unusual. This is not known to be, Central Phoenix is not generally known to be a very kid-friendly area, although it is more kid-friendly than it's given credit for. There aren't a ton of families here. And so we don't get the normal kind of moving around for school thing. So it'd be interesting. There's no way to know exactly why this is happening on scale, but it'd be interesting to know why that number is increasing so much during summer. Kind of reinforcing what I was just saying, the number of new listings we had for the last week was 8. And you can see that most of the activity as far as new listings go has been since the beginning of May. There's no data really telling us what's going on here. But I can tell you for one thing, at least it shows that the sellers still have some confidence that they can sell. Now, this is where things start to get interesting, in my opinion. In a typical year, we see both the listings and the number of sales kind of begin to drop off towards the end of May. People don't want to list their homes in the middle of the summer. People don't want to necessarily shop for homes in the middle of the summer. And so we begin to see a slowdown. It's even more pronounced in Central Phoenix because we don't have a lot of school moves in this area, the people that are trying to move before the school year. As you can see from this chart and from the last one, we're starting to see activity kind of pick up as we head into summer. Things were kind of tailing off. It was actually a little bit early as the numbers of sales started to tail off a little early for the year. It was actually started in April. We started to see that, and it got pretty slow until about mid-June. In mid-June, things started to pick up. We started to see more activity, and we started to see a jump in sales. If this is a long-term trend, this will be a very different year. It already is a very different year. Spring was a very different kind of market than normal. If this continues, we're going to have a very unique year, very non-typical. Sold over the last 6 months. You can see this trend line is pretty flat overall. Typically, by this time of year, we would start to see this dropping quite a bit. So the fact that it's going up at all or staying flat at all is pretty atypical. Average price drop. Now, this is the amount that the price has dropped from the time that it was initially listed until the time that either sold or until now, if it's still active on the market. An increase in this number is a bad thing. A decrease is a good thing. And you can see over the last month or so, that number has decreased. So again, showing some strength in the market overall. Average sales price over the last 30 days, you can see that this number had dropped quite a bit, actually, from the beginning of March until about mid-April, from a peak of about 600 to just a little bit over 400,000, and has climbed some since. Now, this is a short-term indicator and can vary quite a bit. That sounds like a massive jump, but it is not indicative of what's going on in the market as a whole. And let me show you with the next slide. Average sales price over the last 6 months. You can see that this has generally been dropping since about March. It peaked at about 538, and now it's down to about 508. So that's quite a bit of less dramatic drop than what we saw in the last chart. That's about 6%. Just a personal observation, though, that I'm seeing in Coronado. I do live in the neighborhood and own a home here. Is that the larger and more expensive homes are not hitting the market. What we're seeing is kind of the smaller, sometimes not fully remodeled, sometimes just really small Coronado homes hitting the market and selling through this year. I think the reasons for that probably have to do somewhat with interest rates. If you're wanting to get into Central Phoenix, which people still want to be in Central Phoenix, a pretty desirable area. You're close to everything. But if you're wanting to get into this market, you might start off with more of a starter home, something that's smaller. There are 2-bed, 700 square foot homes all over in Coronado neighborhood, and that's a good way to get your foot in the door in the neighborhood without spending a fortune. I think a lot of the larger homes, the $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, million plus homes, are not hitting the market right now for a variety of reasons. One of which is that buyer profile is pretty skinny right now. So people might be holding out for rates to drop. They might be holding out for various things before they hit the market, but we're not seeing those in Coronado very often right now. Average closed price per square foot. You can see that although this kind of wavers around a little bit, the general trend line here is upward since early spring. Again, this kind of reinforces the idea that only the smaller and less expensive homes in Coronado are listing and selling right now, which typically homes like that sell for a little bit more per square foot. Last, we have the average days on market. Nothing really exciting to report here. Basically a flat trend line. That in and of itself is news because throughout the rest of the market, we're seeing those days on market go up quite a bit. So again, another sign of resilience here in Coronado. There you have it, folks. The market update for July for the Coronado neighborhood. As you can see, things are clicking along, pretty stable. Nothing really super scary to report at this particular moment. If you have any questions for me, if you'd like some more information, I do track other neighborhoods as well. I would be happy to share that data with you. You can give me a call at 480-694-7643 or leave a comment and I will message you back. Thanks.